The zipper ripped open with a sound like tearing skin. Athena froze, headlamp beams slicing through the dark tent, catching Aubrey's wide eyes staring straight back at her. "You're not asleep," Athena whispered, voice cracking on the last word. Aubrey didn't blink. She sat up slowly, sleeping bag pooling around her waist, and the silence between them thickened until it felt like something alive pressing against their chests. Athena had told herself 1,000 times this trip would fix everything. A week in the Colorado Rockies, just the two of them. No cell service, no distractions, no husband asking why she flinched every time Aubrey walked into the room. She'd planned it like a surgeon plans an incision, clean, precise, meant to cut out the rot. Instead, the first night in the tent, with rain drumming on nylon and wind howling through the pines, everything she'd buried clawed its way back up. She crawled inside, boots still on, mud smearing the floor. Aubrey watched her the whole time, silent, unreadable. Athena unzipped her jacket, shrugged it off, tried to act normal. "Storm's getting worse," she said stupidly, as if weather mattered now. Aubrey nodded once. Then, in the smallest voice Athena had ever heard from her, she asked, "Why did you bring me here?" Athena's heart slammed against her ribs. She wanted to lie. She wanted to say it was bonding, family time, something normal mothers and daughters did. But the word stuck. Because Aubrey wasn't her daughter. Not really. Not by blood. Not by anything that should have made the thoughts in Athena's head feel like crimes. "I needed to be alone with you," Athena admitted, barely above a breath. Aubrey's laugh was short, bitter. "You've been alone with me for 3 years. Every morning in the kitchen. Every night when Dad's asleep. You just never looked at me like this before." Athena flinched. She had looked. She'd looked too long, too often, and hated herself every single time. She'd watched Aubrey grow from the angry 16-year-old who'd moved in with them to the quiet 19-year-old, who now carried herself like she knew exactly how dangerous she was. And Athena had hated how beautiful that danger felt. The rain grew louder. Thunder cracked somewhere close. Aubrey shifted, moved closer, too close. Their knees touched through the sleeping bags. Athena didn't pull away. "I'm sorry," Athena said, meaning every syllable. Aubrey's eyes narrowed. "For what part? For marrying my dad? For pretending you didn't notice me? Or for wanting what you want right now?" Athena couldn't answer. Because all of it was true. They sat like that for what felt like hours, rain battering the tent, neither moving, neither speaking. Then Aubrey reached out, slow, deliberate, and touched Athena's hand. Just fingertips. Just enough to burn. Athena didn't pull back. Inside her head, alarm screamed. Wrong. Illegal. Immoral. She was 40 in 2 years. Aubrey was 19. She was married. To Aubrey's father. Every rule in the book screamed at her to stop. But the touch felt like the only honest thing she'd done in years. Aubrey's voice came again, softer now. "You think I don't feel it too?" Athena's throat closed. She stared at their joined hands, at the way Aubrey's fingers trembled just slightly. "You shouldn't," she managed. "But I do." Aubrey's eyes were wet, angry, pleading all at once. "And I hate you for making me feel it." The thunder rolled again, closer this time. The tent shook. Athena felt the whole world tilt. She should have left. Should have slept in the truck. Should have done anything except what she did next. She leaned in. Their foreheads touched. Breath mingled. And for one suspended second, the entire universe narrowed to that single point of contact. Then Aubrey kissed her. It wasn't gentle. It was desperate, furious, full of everything they'd both tried to kill for years. Athena kissed back, harder than she meant to, because the moment she let herself feel it, the dam broke. When they finally pulled apart, gasping, the rain had slowed to a drizzle. Aubrey's cheeks were streaked with tears. Athena's were too. "We can't," Athena whispered. "We already did," Aubrey said. Neither of them slept that night. The next morning the sky was bruised purple, air sharp with pine and wet earth. They packed in silence, avoiding eye contact, pretending nothing had happened. But every brush of shoulders, every accidental glance, felt like gasoline on embers. They hiked deeper into the mountains. The trail narrowed, forcing them to walk single file. Athena led. She could feel Aubrey's eyes on her back the whole way. At the first ridge, they stopped to drink. Aubrey sat on a fallen log, knees pulled up, staring at the valley below. Athena stood a few feet away, pretending to study the map. I'm not sorry, Aubrey said suddenly. Athena's hands shook on the water bottle. You should be. Why? Because society says so? Because Dad would die if he knew. Yes, Athena snapped. All of it. Aubrey stood up. Then why did you kiss me back? Athena had no answer. Because she wanted to. Because she'd wanted to for longer than she could admit. Because every time she looked at Aubrey she felt something alive and terrifying and real. They didn't speak again until camp that night. Another tent. Another storm. This time, when the zipper opened, neither pretended surprise. The second night was worse. The air inside the tent felt heavier, thicker with unsaid words and unspent adrenaline. Athena lay on her back, staring at the nylon ceiling, listening to Aubrey breathe. She could tell Aubrey wasn't sleeping either. Her inhales were too careful, too controlled. Athena's mind spun in vicious circles. She replayed the kiss over and over, each time hating herself more. She was supposed to be the adult, the parent, the one who protected, not destroyed. Yet here she was, heart racing because the girl she was supposed to raise wanted her back. Aubrey shifted, whispered, "You're thinking too loud." Athena closed her eyes. Go to sleep. I can't. Not when you're right here hating yourself. I don't hate myself, Athena lied. You do. Aubrey's voice cracked. You hate that you want me. You hate that I want you. And you hate that it feels good. Athena sat up fast. Stop. No, Aubrey sat up too. In the faint glow of the dying headlamp, her face looked older, sharper, like she'd aged 10 years in 48 hours. You don't get to pretend this is one-sided. You don't get to act like I'm the child here. You are, Athena said, voice breaking. You're 19. And you're 38. So what? Age doesn't make feelings illegal. It makes them wrong. Aubrey laughed, short, painful. You sound like my mom. The mention of her real mother hit like a slap. Athena flinched. Aubrey's mother had died when she was 12. Cancer. Quick and cruel. That was why Mark, Athena's husband, had married again so fast. He'd needed someone to help with the girl who wouldn't speak for months after the funeral. Athena had tried. She'd cooked meals, driven to school, sat through therapy sessions. She'd told herself she loved Aubrey like a daughter. Until one day she realized the love had changed shape, grown teeth, started biting. I'm not your mom, Athena said quietly. No, Aubrey agreed. You're not. You're the woman who married my dad and then fell in love with me instead. The words hung there, brutal and true. Athena felt tears burn behind her eyes. I never meant for this. I know. Aubrey's voice softened. But it happened anyway. They were quiet for a long time. Outside, wind rattled the tent poles. Inside, something more dangerous rattled between them. Aubrey moved first. She slid across the small space, knelt in front of Athena. Tell me to stop, she said. Say it like you mean it, and I'll stop. Athena opened her mouth. The words were there. Stop. Please. We can't. But they wouldn't come out. Instead, she lifted her hand, touched Aubrey's cheek. Soft. Warm. Alive. Aubrey closed her eyes, leaned into the touch. And Athena broke. They didn't kiss this time. They just held each other, desperate, shaking, crying silently into each other's shoulders. It was worse than kissing. It was surrender. When morning came, they hiked again. Higher. Harder. As if physical exhaustion could burn the feelings away. It didn't. At a high alpine lake, crystal and freezing, they stopped. Aubrey stripped down to sports bra and shorts, waded in. Athena watched from shore, heart in her throat. Aubrey looked back. Come in. Athena shook her head. Too cold. Coward. The word stung. Athena stood up, took off her shirt, stepped into the water. The cold stole her breath. She pushed forward anyway. They met in the middle, water lapping at their waists. No one spoke. They just stood there, inches apart, shivering, staring. Aubrey reached out. Fingers brushed Athena's collarbone. I don't want to go home, she whispered. Athena's voice cracked. We have to. Why? Because your father is waiting. Because this ends badly. Because I'll ruin you. Aubrey's eyes filled. You already have. They got out. Dressed in silence. Packed up. Kept climbing. That night, the third night, the storm was the worst yet. Lightning cracked so close the thunder felt like it was inside their skulls. The tent shook violently. Athena and Aubrey lay side by side. Not touching. Not speaking. Until Aubrey's hand found Athena's under the sleeping bag. She squeezed. Athena squeezed back. And in the dark, with thunder roaring, they both understood. There was no going back. The fourth day broke clear and cold. They reached the summit by noon. A jagged peak called Devil's Thumb. No one else around. Just wind, rock, and the two of them. They sat on the edge, legs dangling over a 1,000-foot drop. Aubrey leaned against Athena's shoulder. Athena let her. I keep thinking about Dad, Aubrey said. Athena's stomach twisted. Me too. He loves you. I know. He trusts you. Athena closed her eyes. I know. Aubrey turned to face her. Do you love him? Athena looked out over the valley. I did. Once. Maybe I still do. But not the way I should. Aubrey nodded slowly. And me. Athena met her eyes. You're the worst thing that's ever happened to me. And the best. Aubrey laughed, real this time soft. Same. They stayed there until the sun started dropping. Then they descended. Slow. Careful. Like they were walking on glass. That night the tent felt smaller than ever. They didn't bother pretending to sleep apart. Aubrey crawled into Athena's sleeping bag. They fit together perfectly. Too perfectly. They talked. Really talked. About everything they'd avoided for years. Aubrey told her about the first time she'd realized she liked girls. 14, sleepover, watching her best friend change and feeling something sharp and new. Athena told her about college. A girl named Claire. A summer fling she'd never told anyone about. How she'd buried it so deep she almost forgot it existed. They talked about Mark. About how he'd changed after his wife died. How he worked longer hours, drank more, touched Athena less. They talked about guilt. They talked about fear. They talked about what would happen when they got home. Aubrey whispered, I don't want to lose you. Athena kissed her forehead. You won't. But they both knew it was a lie. The next morning they broke camp early. The trail out was long, steep, punishing. They barely spoke. Every step felt like goodbye. Halfway down, Aubrey stopped. Turned. Looked at Athena with eyes that were red and raw. If I ask you to leave him, she said, will you? Athena's heart stopped. She wanted to say yes. God, she wanted to. But she saw Mark's face. Saw the house. Saw the life they'd built. Saw the wreckage. I don't know, she whispered. Aubrey's face crumpled. That's not good enough. I know. They kept walking. That night was the last night. No storm. Just stars. Just quiet. They lay facing each other. Fingers laced. Aubrey said, I'm going to college in California. Full ride. I got the acceptance letter last week. Athena's throat closed. You didn't tell me. I was going to. Before this. Athena nodded. Tears slipped down her temples. You should go. I know. Silence stretched. Then Aubrey said, come with me. Athena laughed, broken, painful. I can't. Why not? Because I'm married. Because I'm your stepmother. Because the world will tear us apart. Aubrey's voice shook. Let it. Athena pulled her close. Held her like she was drowning. I love you, she whispered. Aubrey sobbed against her neck. I love you too. They fell asleep like that. Entwined. Terrified. Certain. The drive home was torture. 6 hours of silence broken only by the hum of tires, and the occasional sob from Aubrey. Athena kept her eyes on the road. If she looked at Aubrey, she would crash. They pulled into the driveway at dusk. Mark's car was there. Lights on in the kitchen. Aubrey stared at the house like it was a prison. I can't go in. You have to, Athena said. Aubrey turned to her. Tell me you'll end it. Athena's hands shook on the wheel. I can't promise that. Aubrey's face went blank. She opened the door. Got out. Slamming it behind her. Athena sat in the car for 10 minutes before she could move. Inside, Mark was at the stove cooking pasta. He smiled when he saw her. "You're back early." "Yet," Athena said, voice flat. Aubrey was already upstairs. Door shut. Mark hugged her. She let him. Felt nothing. Dinner was silent. Aubrey didn't come down. After Mark went to bed, Athena stood outside Aubrey's door. Knocked softly. No answer. She opened it anyway. Aubrey was sitting on the bed, knees to chest, staring at the wall. Athena closed the door behind her. "I'm sorry," she said. Aubrey didn't look at her. "Don't." Athena crossed the room, sat on the edge of the bed. Aubrey finally turned, eyes blazing. "You're going to stay with him, aren't you?" Athena couldn't lie anymore. "I don't know." "That's worse than yes." "I know." Aubrey stood up, paced. "I told myself I wouldn't beg, but I'm begging. Leave him. Choose me." Athena's chest ached. "It's not that simple." "It is. You either love me enough or you don't." Athena stood too. "I love you more than anything." "Then prove it." They stared at each other. Then Aubrey kissed her, fierce, angry goodbye. When she pulled back, she said, "I'm leaving for California in 2 weeks. If you're not coming, don't talk to me again." She turned away. Athena left the room. That night she lay beside Mark, listening to him snore, feeling like she was suffocating. The next week was hell. Aubrey avoided her. Mark noticed. Asked questions. Athena lied. She cried in the shower every morning. She dreamed of Aubrey every night. On the 10th day, Aubrey packed her car. Mark helped. Smiled. Hugged her. Told her he was proud. Athena watched from the porch. Couldn't breathe. When Aubrey walked past her to get the last bag, she paused. Looked at Athena. Said nothing. Got in the car. Drove away. Athena stood there until the taillights disappeared. Then she went inside. Told Mark she needed air. Walked out the door. She drove. Didn't know where. Ended up at the trailhead. The same one they'd started from. She hiked. Alone. Until dark. Sat on the same log by the lake. Cried until she had nothing left. Then she drove home. Mark was asleep. She packed a bag. Quietly. Carefully. Left a note on the kitchen table. "I'm sorry. I love you. But I'm in love with someone else." She drove west. Toward California. Toward Aubrey. Toward the wreckage she knew was coming. 3 months later. Athena stood outside a small apartment in Santa Cruz. Hands shaking. Heart in her throat. She knocked. The door opened. Aubrey stood there. Hair longer now. Eyes wary. She didn't speak. Athena said, "I left him." Aubrey stared. "When?" 3 months ago. The day you drove away." Aubrey's face crumpled. "Why didn't you come sooner?" "I had to divorce him. Had to let him hate me. Had to make sure I wasn't running away from guilt." Aubrey stepped aside. "Come in." The apartment was small. Books everywhere. Surfboard in the corner. It smelled like coffee and salt air. They sat on the couch. Far apart. Aubrey asked, "Does he know about us?" Athena shook her head. "Not yet. But he will." Aubrey looked down. "He'll never forgive us." "I know." Silence. Then Aubrey said, "I thought you weren't coming." "I thought I wasn't either." Aubrey laughed. Wet, broken. "We're so fucked up." "Yeah." Aubrey moved closer. Took Athena's hand. "I still love you," she whispered. Athena pulled her in. Held her tight. "I still love you too." They stayed like that for hours. Talking. Crying. Planning. They knew the road ahead would be brutal. Family. Friends. Society. Legal battles. Public shame. They knew people would call it wrong. Sick. Predatory. They knew Mark would be destroyed. They knew they might not survive it. But they also knew they couldn't survive without each other. So they chose. They chose the hard way. They chose each other. Months turned into years. They built a life. Quiet. Careful. Honest. They never married. Never pretended it was normal. They just loved. And every night, when the world felt too heavy, They remembered the tent, the storm, the moment everything shifted. And they held on tighter. In the end, was it worth it? Was the love worth the wreckage? You decide.